So as we're all well aware, the fine folks at Line 6 have recently dropped their firmware 3.5 for Helix, HX Stomp, and what an update it is. Huge hats off to the folks at Line 6. They've given us some wonderful new functionality and a couple great amp models. Today we are going to talk about dialing in the Vitriol Crunch model. Now, what is the Vitriol Crunch? It's a new amp addition to the Helix and HX Stomp, and it is going to be an amp model based off the Peavey Invective Crunch channel. So as of the release of this video, I will also on the Line 6 marketplace have my Vitriol Ultimate preset, which is going to include a Helix version with a vast array of effects, both the lead and crunch channels of the amp, multiple snapshots. It sounds really fabulous. Later in the video, I'm going to play you a full production I used these presets for and the preset that we're going to dial in that will be available on Custom Tone as well, the one we're going to do today. There'll be a Stomp version and there will also be a Helix version. I was really excited about this amp when I was doing the beta testing for it. It sounds fabulous and I hope you guys really like it. So without further ado, let's dive over to HX Edit and take a look and see what this is all about. So here we are over at the JS Vitriol Crunch preset. You'll notice here I have my normal little template. I have a little LA Studio comp at the end, peak reduction at 6.5, gain at 5, mix down around 60%, let a little bit of the unaffected signal through. The EQ here, I took a little bit of 400 Hertz with a mid Q of 1.4 and dropped that down by 2 dB. Also a low cut of 100 Hertz and a high cut of 11 kilohertz. Utilizing a little dab of dynamic room reverb, decay at 0.8, pre-delay at 10 milliseconds, mix of 25% that trails on these other settings. I do have a little transistor tape delay on here. If anybody would like it, they can kick that in if they so desire, and it adds a nice little delay to the tone. Low and high shelf EQ, very typical settings for me. Low frequency and high frequency, both set at 650 Hertz. This time I boosted all the frequencies above 650 by plus 4 dB, cut all the frequencies below by minus 2 dB. That worked really nice for this preset. The amp settings were on the Peavey Vitriol Crunch, pre-gain of 6.2, bass at 5.4, mids at 5.8, treble at 5.8, post gain at 6.3, presence at 6.3, master at 5, and all the deeper functions just as they come up. And our new cab block with our movable microphones. I went with the 121 ribbon mic on the 412 Greenback 25. This is the new cab as part of the firmware 3.5. Position was 2.0. You'll see it in the little diagram here where it's placed in relation to the speaker cone. Distance of 3.75 inches back on a 45-degree angle, and no low or high cut simply because I have those baked in over here on my parametric EQ block. So let's do this. Let's start at the end of the chain. I am going to turn everything off except for just the amp and cab. And with these settings on the amp and cab, this preset sounds like this. A lot of folks ask me whether I would still do things like, using the shelf EQ now that we have movable mics. And the answer is of course, because these are things I would do in the real world when recording real amps anyways in mixes and whatnot. So I'm not going to change the way that I work just because we have the movable mics now. I'm very happy we do because it does give us another parameter to work with. But I don't find that the legacy cabs that we've been using up until now are any worse than these. And I will oftentimes use those even though we have these. But I do love having these new cabs. As I mentioned, it just adds another great point where we can dial our tone in. So coming over here now, listening to this, let's bring in the LA Studio comp at the end for just a little bit of tiny squish on it. Okay, so that does something nice to it. Let's bring our parametric EQ, clean up a little bit of the lower mids and do our low and high cut. Starting to come together. We'll bring our reverb in. Very subtle reverb on this. If we still want that delay, it sounds like this. Now, making it a little more mix ready, I'm going to bring my low and high shelf EQ in here. Again, without. And that was the finished product. So how does that core tone sound in a mix? I used a variety of snapshots from my Vitriol Ultimate preset bundle that is available on the Line 6 marketplace right now. And I put together this tune of mine that I recently re-recorded with my good friends Marco Miniman on drums and Jason Henry on bass. So what you're hearing in here are these tones from the Ultimate preset pack on the Line 6 marketplace with no post-processing in the mix, just used as is, layered into the song with all the guitars that are used in there. Give that a listen. I hope you enjoy it. All right, what did you guys think? So that was using, obviously, more than just this stripped back preset. I'm using a much fuller featured preset, like I mentioned, from my Vitriol Ultimate preset pack with lots of effects. But it is essentially this core tone for some of those sounds you heard in that song. So if you like it, the link is below. You can grab that from the marketplace. But this preset, as well as an HX Stomp version of it, will be up on Custom Tone right now. You can go grab that, tweak it, play with it, and hopefully it's a good starting point for you guys. So I hope you guys are enjoying the Firmware 3.5 update as much as I am. I am absolutely blown away with it. Just when you think the Helix couldn't get any better, the fine folks at Line 6 find a way to come along and add features that really raise it to a whole new level. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that was enjoyable, and I hope it was helpful, and I hope you really enjoy the presets, whether you're using just the free one here or the ones from the Line 6 marketplace that I put out. And if you do grab those, I really do appreciate your support, so thank you very much. Thanks again for sharing your time with me. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. And also please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again. Ciao for now.